Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the Adidas Don Issue 6. And of course this is Donovan Mitchell's signature shoe, and it's his 6th signature shoe with Adidas, and it's actually pretty cheap. You know, the price is 120 bucks, which I like. I like how Dame and also Donovan Mitchell are trying to keep their shoes on the cheaper side of things for the consumers, right? Harden, don't care. Trae Young doesn't care. His first signature shoe was like 130 bucks. Now the Trae Young 3 is like, what, 140 bucks? That's crazy, you know what I mean? But anyways, if you guys do want to call up or try to leave, in the affiliate link in the description box. It was available on Finish Line. It's not anymore, which is weird, but it is available on Champs right now as I'm filming this video. I don't know why, you know, these retailers are releasing shoes before the scheduled release date, but it's good for us, I guess. You know, we can get an earlier kind of release comparing to the Adidas one. But anyways, is the Don Issue 6 an amazing performer? We'll have to see on that. But his signature shoe line has been kind of not that nice. The 1 through 3 was very not nice. I really didn't like those. The 4 was okay. The 5 was actually pretty nice. I really liked the 5. The 4 was okay, and then the 6 we'll have to see on that. But if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. Also, the Don Issue 5 is going for like 60 bucks. This is a solid performer. So again, all the affiliate links will be in the description box. If you do choose to get either the Don Issue 5 or the 6, it does help me out if you buy it through the link. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. Or you can buy from the product picture underneath this video, or I'll try to leave the link like in the corners. But let's get it started off with the Tracciones. So in this colorway, we have a fully translucent outsole, and that kind of worried me a little bit because usually, like most of the time, translucent outsoles pick up a little bit more dust than the solid rubber outsole, you know? But it actually didn't pick up that much dust, first of all, right? But it just on a clean court, I'll tell you guys right now, this has one of the hardest stops that you can get. Like, amazing. I would say it's like just as hard as the AE one. That's how good. Whatever Adidas is doing with the rubber compounds, they need to keep doing it, you know what I mean? And Adidas is trying to come back, guys, and they're coming back with a vengeance. You know, Adidas with their basketball shoe lineup is absolutely amazing right now, right? And also, did you guys see the Harden Volume 8, the brand new Harden Volume 8 colorway, the black and white one with kind of like the shiny patent leather toe like shroud? That colorway looks amazing. Anyways, one of the hardest and one of the best stops that I've experienced right now, right? So, of course, I was playing in the Sabrina 2s. My rotation, you know, for the past couple weeks has been the Sabrina 2, the Don Issue 6, the Lucas, you know. And I was also playing alongside the AE ones as well, and the Hardens with the Don Issue 6 to see how everything was. And yeah, this shoe compares very nicely with the AE one. It has such a hard stop, which I like, and also has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance, but yeah, I feel like most hoopers like to have that, including me, and this shoe has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak. If you're playing on a dusty court, however, it's not the best, but it's actually pretty dang good, right? So, like I said, I was playing with a rotation of the Sabrina 2, the Luka 3s, and the AG4 Soar SC, and also like the AE1 Hardens, right? The Harden Volume 8 was definitely picking up a little bit more dust than the Don Issue 6, but I would say it picked up a little bit more dust than the AE1. The AE1 did not really pick up dust for me at all. The Don Issue 6, it doesn't pick up dust that quickly. But when it does pick up dust, it's a very easy wipe. You know, 1 to 2 slight wipes and you're good to go. And you still have really nice hard bites. And also, it bites through dust pretty dang well. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like kind of dusty, you're still gonna have really nice performance. If you're playing on a really dusty court, you're just gonna have to wipe a little bit. You know what I mean? So, dust performance still really nice. If you're playing on an outdoor court, I feel like it'll be okay. You know what I mean? The grooves I thought would be really soft because it looks like thin grooves, but it's actually on the harder side of things. And also there's a lot of grooves, a lot of surface area. The grooves are deep as well, so I feel like it'll be good. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit worried about the lines, like where the high wear area is, like the ball of your foot. That's might rip off, so just be careful with that, but I feel like it'll be okay, you know? So overall traction, definitely top tier. I was very surprised because the Don Issues, like none of the shoes were ever like top tier to me, but the 6, top tier, you know? So there is that. Also, of course, we have the midfoot chain plate. It's a decoupled outsole. We can see the 3 stripes logo here as well as the X frame, You know what I mean? We have the plate here, and now moving on to the heel to toe transition. Overall, it is pretty dang smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice kind of curved shape as well as a fully exposed midsole. You know, it is light strike, so that feels really nice. It's soft here in the heel, and then coming here to the forefoot, we have a crazy rocker shape, which is so dang nice, especially comparing to the Don Issue 1. You guys remember that, right? Also, we have a good amount of forefoot flex, but actually it has a nice little springiness to it as well, probably because of the plate. Even though it's really thin lines, right, like on the outside of the shoe, it's still kind of like springy here in the forefoot. And if you guys didn't know, this is actually just plastic. They kind of make it look like carbon fiber, but it's just plastic, right? So, but good torsion support. So overall, heel to toe transition, very smooth, and also you have a nice little springiness to it as well, right? And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So for the cushioning setup, like as far as the foam goes, it's weird. The tech specs are all over the place for Adidas and like Finish Line and Champs, you know what I mean? So it says Light Strike Pro here. So I'm guessing it's Light Strike Pro, obviously, right? But then it's saying Light Strike and Light Strike Pro on some of the tech specs, like on some of the websites. Some are just saying Light Strike, which doesn't make sense because it says Light Strike Pro on the shoe. And some people were saying, you know, on like the comments and stuff like that, that it's Light Strike Pro here in the forefoot and Light Strike here in the heel. Whatever it is, you know, like when I'm feeling it, actually feels very similar here in the forefoot and here in the heel, so it doesn't even feel that different. But either way, I'm just gonna tell you guys how it felt, you know what I mean? Because, you know, foams companies, when they use the same type of foam, you know, on different shoes, it feels different because the way they implement it, even like sometimes like, you know, Cushlon or Phylon or whatever, Boost can even feel different, you know what I mean? So anyways, I'm gonna tell you guys how it feels, and it feels pretty dang nice, right? So first of all, underfoot cushion and step and comfort isn't that nice when you first get it, you know what I mean? So first of all, the insole is very thin, it's not very nice, typical of Adidas, of course. But underneath that, we have like a softer like foam strobel board, right? So when I first got it, it wasn't super nice. It's definitely not as nice as like a soft mesh strobel board. However, breaking it in, and I you know, of course I kept playing it, it got nicer and nicer, right? So the strobel board kind of broke in. I can feel the light strike underneath my foot, especially in the heel, and it actually has a nice little kind of compression. It's not super bouncy, you know what I mean? So underfoot cushioning, I would say is okay, you know what I mean? It's not super stiff, but also not super nice compared to like, you know, like Zoom strobel or soft mesh strobel board found in like Way of Wade, you know? And also we have a lot of compression here in the heel, and that feels really nice. And then also we have very good impact protection, especially on heel strikes, but also in the forefoot impact protection is really nice, right? Overall, the cushioning setup isn't super bouncy, however, which kind of sucks. It's just more soft. There's a little bit of rebound, but it's not super bouncy. But one thing I didn't like about the cushioning setup that much is the court feel, right? So it's definitely not terrible. I would say maybe it's like average, around average, maybe a little bit worse than average for court feel. But I was playing in like, you know, the Sabrina 2s and Luka 3s, which have really nice court feel. So I definitely noticed a difference when I was switching shoes, like switching from those shoes to the Don Issue 6. I definitely noticed a difference, right? But when I was just playing in the Don Issue 6 for a couple of games, you know, obviously, you know, I got used to it. You get used to it, and it's not that bad, you know what I mean? So, and I feel like, you know, you are getting really good impact protection and cushion for the relative court feel. So I wouldn't even say it's that bad, right? So overall, the cushioning setup is pretty nice. I definitely wouldn't say it's as nice as like, you know, the AE1 or the Harden Volume 8, but it's still pretty nice for the Don Issue 6. And now moving on to the upper, so we have a very nice kind of like textile mesh material, right? So we have a mesh material on top, and underneath that, we have kind of like a textile mesh material, kind of like underlaying that. So it's kind of like a dual layered material. Also here in the toe box, we have a thin layer of fuse as well for extra durability and support. But overall, I really like how they designed this upper, right? So here in the toe box, it's thin, but also it doesn't really stretch that much, but also it really conforms to your foot really well, you know what I mean? So here in the toe box, it still feels really minimal for the upper, and then here in the midfoot area, it feels a little bit more glued down, right? In this part, and also here on this part, feels a little bit more glued down, a little bit more supportive, which makes sense. You can see the underlaying material as well with this like 3 black stripes. But also another thing that I really like that they did is around the laces, and also pretty much around the entire shoe, we have this kind of like TPU, like this plastic. It goes all around the shoe, right? The heel, the forefoot, and also here on the medial side of the shoe. And that also, like, it doesn't, you know, take away from the thinness of the material. Like it doesn't add that much thickness because it's kind of like only in one area of the upper, but that really kind of adds to the support a lot. You know what I mean? Which I like. I think that's a great design because, you know, like uppers, when they are really thin, sometimes, you know, they lack a little bit of support, right? But because they added that, this upper still feels really thin and minimal, especially here in the toe box, and still feels really supportive while still conforming to your foot really well, right? Also for the tongue, we have an average amount of padding, not super well padded. And also we have like a half weighted construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And also here in the ankle area, we have very minimal padding too. Like pretty much like on the sides, there's 0 padding. There is an Achilles pad almost, very similar to the Don Issue 5. And also it's kind of connected to the pull tab. So when you pull on it, it kind of comes up, making the shoe a little bit easier to put on. But that adds a little bit of comfort to the back of the shoe, right? So overall, this is a very minimal feeling upper while still feeling really supportive, which I like. And also the quality is still really nice, I would say, you know, especially for 120 bucks, and the durability doesn't even seem that bad. You know what I mean? So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and this shoe fits me absolutely amazingly. It fits me pretty much like a glove. So you know, once you break it in, playing it, it does stretch out a little bit with this textile mesh material here in the toe box. So it does get a little bit roomier here in the toe box. But overall, lengthwise, going true to size, perfect for me. It's still a nice snug fit here in the toe box. And then widthwise, I would say it's normal to slightly narrow. So it's a really nice snug fit for me. And if you want a nice snug fit, definitely go true to size. Also here in the midfoot, it is a little bit narrow as well. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown, surprisingly, it's really good. You know, for how light and also how minimal this upper feels, it's still a really supportive feeling shoe, right? So for lateral containment, I was good to go, right? So we have a little bit of fuse here in the toe box, right? Extending into the like the forefoot area on the lateral side, right? Also, we have the foam coming up, acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot. And also here in the midfoot, we have this clip, of course, right? This midfoot shank plate. It kind of like wraps around the entire shoe and comes up, acting as sidewall on the medial side and also on the lateral side, right? Also here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment is really, really nice. Your foot is not coming out of the footbed. And also another thing that I really like I said, is the rigidness of the upper. You know, it's still really supportive feeling because of this plastic. So yeah, my foot wasn't really moving that much inside of the shoe either, you know. One thing, however, is the heel lockdown, right? So it wasn't heel slippage, but maybe I feel like, you know, the foam, it kind of cups in, but it cups in really low on the heel. So it just felt kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like once I kept playing in the shoe, I definitely got used to it, but coming from like, you know, the Sabrina 2s and Luka 3s, or like most normal hoop shoes, they have the cupping like a little bit higher on the heel. So like kind of grabs your heel and locks it down a little bit better. The Don Issue 6 is a little bit lower, you know? It wasn't like my foot was like coming out of the heel, but it was just like a little, it just didn't feel super locked down, you know? So just be careful with that, but it was just a little minor thing for me. Just telling you guys, right? So there is a support in lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe, if you guys didn't know, Adidas makes freaking heavy shoes, right? The Harden Volume 8 and the AE1, although they're amazing performers, they're one of the heaviest hoop shoes that you can get on the market right now, right? So the Don Issue 6, however, they're using Light Strike, which is a lot lighter than Boost. And this shoe overall is really light. It's 11.35 ounces, right? The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So if this shoe was average weight, like 12.5 ounces, I would be like, that's really nice. But they take it a step further and make it like more than an ounce lighter than average. You know, 11.4 ounces for the other shoe. This is a really light shoe. Very minimal feeling, but also yet very supportive and really responsive, right? Like I felt extremely quick when I was playing in the shoe, right? So you have a little bit of springiness, right, from the overall shoe. Traction is top tier. Cushion overall is really responsive. You know, I didn't feel sluggish from the cushion. And the fit was great, and the overall support of the upper and lockdown was really nice too. So I felt extremely fast when I was playing the shoe, which of course I loved. So there is the weight. Moving on to the ventilation. Ventilation's okay. There's not a whole lot of airflow through this upper. There's a little bit, right? And also this material is really thin, so it's not gonna keep in heat. So overall ventilation is actually pretty dang good. And then moving on to the aesthetics, I really like it. I feel like, you know, for some reason, I feel like a lot of people don't, but I like it. I love the carbon fiber look to this clip, and it's just a very simple looking shoe. I really like this colorway too. Not a huge fan of the Volt, but the gradient on the midsole and the upper looks great. And some of the other colorways, like the team colorways, also look pretty nice. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, surprisingly, oh my gosh, they finally made a Don Issue a top tier performer, and I'm all for it. You know what I mean? For 120 bucks, that's still a really good price. And this shoe has pretty much everything that you could ask for if you're a guard, right? If you're a bigger dude, also I feel like this will be good. You know, you have adequate cushion, and also support is really nice still, while still being a very lightweight shoe. And if you're a guard, you feel, like I said, really fast in this shoe, like top tier, like responsiveness, you know? So yeah, I absolutely love this shoe, and this will be in my rotation heavy. You know, the only minor thing that I didn't like is the court feel, because it's just, for me, I like to have a very good court feel, but still, that wasn't a huge issue for me in the Don Issue 6. So yeah, that about concludes my performance review of the Don Issue 6. I absolutely love playing this shoe, and it's definitely a top 3 performer by Adidas right now. And again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the free link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.